Welcome back. It's so nice to have you again on Talking Technical, and I must thank you. Thank you for so many requests. I wrote them down this morning, and I hope I can get all the names right. But the first one was definitely John that wanted to look at Master Drilling. Now, Master Drilling is one of those shares that I've mentioned long time ago that I think it offers value, not even out of a fundamental point of view, but I mean, these guys do a niche business. And look at this chart. I mean, since January 2017, it was just hammered to pieces all the way down from 18 Rand 50 to, can you believe it, to 9 Rand. Now, I know the share is not that liquid, and that's maybe, if it comes under pressure, it can maybe fall a lot. But remember, when a share is illiquid and when the demand picks up, then suddenly you can see a change there, and then the share can rally even on low volume. So let's have a look here. I just want to show you this line. This is the old resistance line that held the stock back. Let's have a look. There you are. Since January month of 2017, it was just under pressure. And every time that it got to this level or this resistance line, there was just some sellers. And we've seen the sellers all the way right through till about, let's call it November last year. Now, what happened since then? We see some higher lows. Now, a higher low just tells you that there is some other guys interested in the share and that they are maybe buying it on weakness. Now, let's have a look here. The low of 8 Rand 58 was on that week of December, late, let's say middle of December. And since then, look at that, a higher low. And what I like about it is this double bottom. I want to show you. There's the line that confirms this double bottom. There you are. You can see that it tested this line before, and there you are. It didn't. Remember, this is a weekly chart of Master Drilling, so I take out all the daily noise. This is only weekly closes. Now, it went as low as 936. It rallied up on to almost 12 Rand, came back to test 936 now, and it's now pushing higher again. What I like about the stock, apart from this line that turned now into a support, we can almost see this as a technical goodbye kiss, and that is positive. But this double bottom scenario sometimes give you an early indication that things are going for the better and the stock wants to improve from here. Now, if we look at the stock, let's have a look. I just want to draw this line there. Now, this double bottom will be confirmed the moment the stock goes above this high, and that high sits at 11 Rand 80. So the moment the stock gets above 11.80, we can say that this double bottom scenario will be confirmed, and then of course we'll see a brand new higher low. Well, there's all the higher lows, and then we'll see a confirmation of this higher low, and then it will turn into a higher high. Now, a higher high is usually positive, and a higher high tells you that if it goes higher from here, we can easily see another move up to almost 12 Rand 90 and even as high as 13 Rand 90 if it plays out to the full. But what I like about this company, there's a lot of fundamental analysts also telling now the market that this stock is offering some nice volume, and I just want to see where the 40-week moving average is here, because that is also an indication that long-term capital is starting to look. Oh yes, there you are. There's the moving average, the 40-week moving average. Look how it rallied all the way down with this resistance line, and now it broke that into a support. That is positive. While the stock is moving above 10 Rand on the dot, 10 Rand and 1 cent, I think that the momentum of the stock wants to turn around, and we can maybe see some higher levels from here. But let's just give you a stop loss. And remember now, if you buy an illiquid stock, don't go in and buy everything at once. Maybe phase yourself in and say, I maybe only buy 1,000 now or 2,000 now, and I can maybe buy some later on if you allocate more capital to it. But let's give you a stop loss. The stop loss will be 9 Rand and 34 cents. So it's a big stop loss if you buy it around current levels, or you wait for this resistance line to turn into a support. And therefore, while it's a big stop loss, don't just put all your eggs in the share at once. Only phase yourself in. Well, the next one, that one was Louis. Louis asked about the Rand dollar. He said that he's exchanging some goods and selling some goods overseas, And he's also importing some stuff, and he's a little bit worried what to do with the rand. Now, if we look at the rand, first of all, this is a weekly candlestick chart. And let's just close that. The rand is stuck in this symmetrical triangle for quite a while now. And the rand is now just below the support line. And we're trading now at around 14 Rand and 6 cents, just above that 14 Rand level. But what we've seen in the past, every time that the rand, Louis, gets close to this 14 Rand level, there's some keen sellers around this level to buy dollars and exchange their rands for that. So I will say, if you look at the symmetrical triangle, yes, we can maybe see some more strengthening, and my next level, if it goes below 14 Rand, will be 13 Rand 88 and even 13 Rand 79. But the moment it starts to go up again within this band, above 14 Rand and 38 cents, we can move all the way back to 14 Rand 58 and even 14 Rand 84. And Louis, while we've seen every time that around this 14 Rand level there's some keen sellers of the rand, I think if you need to do some payments, look this level, check this level out, 14 Rand. If it doesn't want to confirm and go below 14 Rand and go to this 13 Rand 87 level, maybe it's time to switch some of that over to around 14 Rand, because we've seen now over the past, if the rand starts to weaken, it goes quite quickly. And as we know, our economy is struggling and our politics are unsure, and that always plays an effect on the rand. But of course, in the last week or two, the rand was extremely strong. Why? Because the dollar weakened, and the dollar weakened and commodities were nicely strong. But I just say, watch this 14 Rand level and look what we see here. This 40-week moving average for a long time now, every time that the rand just have this brief, you can almost say a brief moment below this 40-week moving average, it's not far from there, then it bounces off from there and it goes higher. So let's just see. Maybe the rand can prove us wrong, but I doubt if we will go much lower than 14 Rand because of all these candles. Maybe I can just draw the line in there for you. Then you can see. And let's have a look there. And there's 14 Rand. Let's go 14. Let's just take that out. Let's go 14 Rand there. And now you will see what I'm talking. Every time that the rand over the last couple of months, look at it since last year, July, the moment it gets close to this 14 Rand level, whoops, there's the sellers. Then the dollar strengthened and the rand weakened. Every time they look at it, a brief moment below that, it goes that. There was an occurrence early in January, same thing, whoop, it goes up, then it came back to test it and it rallied up. So I'm believing that this 14 Rand level is a crucial level. If the rand can strengthen below that, we can maybe be surprised, but otherwise above 14 Rand, we can easily see some weakness again. Then we've got Koos. Koos say he is sick and tired of Into Properties. He bought the stock and he's still hanging on to the stock, but he says he's got now to a point where he actually say, listen, I don't want to have the stock anymore. Well, I'm starting to buy Into Properties for myself. I decided to buy an overseas property many years ago, and I never got to that because I believe that maybe if the property is too far and you can't watch it, I'll rather not buy it. And I decided to buy Into Properties. Now I'm buying it now for quite a while now, and every time that I see a little bit of a positive note on the on the chart, I buy a little bit, and I accumulate it for quite a while now. So what I say to myself, okay, Frans, every time that you see something, you can buy now. I started buying the stock around the 16 Rand 50 level when you had this consolidation. But I mean, since then, the stock just fell off the cliff, and I bought again when I saw this bullish candle. Now, of course, if you look at this chart, first of all, the trend to the downside is purely 100% in place. And remember, there's now a difference. I don't know if you're buying the stock for the long term or the medium term. For me, I'm buying it for the long term. Now, I've got a 3-year plus view on that, so it doesn't bother me if it goes a little bit lower. In actual fact, I would like to buy more if it goes lower because I've got a longer term perspective on that. Now, this bullish candle gives me the first hint that there was some serious buyers that at last got in after this massive sell-off. Now, the low of this candle is 13 Rand and 2 cents. Of course, if it drops below 13 Rand 2 cents, it can go even lower. And I want to show you how low can it go, because that is always the big question to say, if it breaks that line, where can it go? Now, if you use this support line. It can go all the way down to around 12 Rand 10 cents. So every time that it gets to the support line, look what it does. It gets there, rallies a little bit and comes back. There was a little bit of a brief moment where it pulled away from it, but eventually it fell back and it tested this line. So that is my first clue that there is some buyers around. Then my next big point is, after these few candles, the high of this little candle there, let's just get you that level, the high of this candle is 14 Rand and 10 cents. Now, if the stock can get above 14 Rand 10 cents, at last we will see that these bulls have bought the share and they are happy. And they will then hold onto the stock above 14.10. Now, I would like to put in something else here. I want to use a 3 and an 8 day moving average, because if you sometimes look for a quick turnaround and you need for something for a 3-month view and you believe that you want to hold the stock for a 3-month view, I usually put in a 3 and an 8 day moving average. And the reason being is it usually shows me early on that the stock is turning around for the medium to the longer term. And there you are. If I look at this chart, look at the 3 and the 8 day moving average. It almost starting to cross over. Yes, of course, it must cross over before we know it can go up. But it tested it many a times and every time it failed. So I will hold on to my point that I will say above this 14 Rand 10 cents course, there's maybe a first sign of optimism. But of course, your stop loss will be 13 Rand and 2 cents. And that's the big thing. Everybody hates at the moment property stocks, and they rock bottom. This company comes from 80 Rand to about 14 Rand. So maybe for me now, personally, I think it's time to nibble on that, and that's what I do on a monthly basis. But if you want to buy it, don't go too big. Thank you so much.